Hello everybody, Vic here with another video. Today I'm going through my entire horror Blu-ray collection. I have a lot of horror Blu-rays, so this might be quite the long video, but it's going to be pretty chill. I got my Diet Sunkiss orange soda, probably the best soda on the market, and the diet version tastes only slightly worse than the real version. So let's take a toast to that. All right, as we go through these horror Blu-rays, of course, if you have any comments, please let me know. I'm going to try to guide you on which horror Blu-rays I feel like were a great purchase, which maybe are regrettable. So I'm trying to guide you on your own horror Blu-ray mission that you're on, your own adventure on what's a good purchase, a bad purchase, maybe keep your DVD, maybe don't make the upgrade, or maybe just don't buy it at all. There we go. Ah, there we go. Army of Darkness. Now, this I would say is borderline horror. I mean, I don't know what genre to actually put this movie in. This is action, horror, comedy. Basically, just Bruce Campbell being hilarious and inspiring future video games like Duke Nukem and other superheroes. One-liners come from Mr. Ash in Army of Darkness. Look, it's a solid Blu-ray. Definitely need to get this if you don't have it. You know, one version of the movie that I've never been able to find, because they do have the director's cut, and the director's cut has some added footage. I think about like 15 minutes of added footage. But when I was growing up, the first time I saw the movie was on TV, and on TV there was a TV version that I've never actually seen released on DVD or Blu-ray. If anybody knows about this mysterious TV version, if it's available somewhere to buy, I would definitely get that. Also, on the director's cut of this, there's a great commentary track by Bruce Campbell, by Sam Raimi, so that's a highly recommend. Moving on, oh, this is an absolute classic. We have Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is the 1978 version. I've never seen the OG, I think from the 1950s, but apparently that one is amazing as well. This one is Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Jeff Goldblum. Really is a solid sci-fi movie with hints of horror. I would say that the ending will definitely leave a mark on you, so if you haven't seen it, be very prepared for the ending. Make sure you have the volume cranked up when you get to the ending. And don't blame me if you have a reaction to that. Definitely, this is the 4K version. So, quick story. I had a huge DVD collection, like many of us back in the day. But my first paycheck from a seasonal job at Kmart when I was 17, first DVD I bought, what was it? Was it Halloween? Was it Nightmare on Elm Street? No, I bought the Garfield TV show collection. Garfield the cat, 7 o'clock in the morning before school, every morning as a kid. Used to watch Garfield, the cartoon show, 2 great adventures, and then 1 middle adventure with all the farm chickens, things like that. I didn't like that as much, but that was my first DVD. But I had amassed tons of DVDs by the time of age 22, I would say. I was putting a lot of money towards it. And then Blu-ray comes out, and of course, Blu-ray starts as okay, I'll just get the elite movies on Blu-ray, just the things that are worth the upgrade. And then cut to 5 years later, now you got, 300 Blu-rays, and then you get 4K Blu-rays. I'm like, damn it, this time I'm not making the jump. But then you start hearing online how big the jump is from Blu-ray to 4K in terms of video quality and sound quality specifically. 4K Blu-rays have amazing sound, so get yourself a 4K Blu-ray player, 4K soundbar. I don't regret the 4K Blu-rays that I bought for the most part, but it is starting a new thing now where now I'm basically upgrading a lot of my Blu-rays to 4K, and it's a very costly habit to have. That said, this is a great classic, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Let's move on here. Oh, wow. This one I waited for so long. It was so hard to find Dawn of the Dead and anything except, well, it was on YouTube for free, a terrible quality version, and there was an old DVD of it that I used to have, but Dawn of the Dead on Blu-ray was very difficult to find. It was one of those things that you looked on Amazon and see like it would be shipped from a different country for $120. Like, yeah, I'll wait for a different version. This is the 4K version, but it's a 4-disc collection, has different versions. I think it has the Italian Argentino version, Dario Argentino. And listen, it's just, in my opinion, outside Return of the Living Dead, my next favorite zombie movie is Dawn of the Dead, 1978. One of the few movies that actually has a great remake, 2004. I don't actually have 2004 Dawn of the Dead on Blu-ray, so that's one I gotta get. But this was a first day one purchase, and you could spend about a week going through the special features, going through the different versions. If you're a Dawn of the Dead fan, I highly recommend this. It has the Blu-ray in it also, so don't be threatened by the fact that it's a 4K Blu-ray. It has the Blu-ray versions as well, so definitely get that if you can. All right, moving on. Another classic Black Christmas in 4K. Listen, I think that Black Christmas doesn't really get the proper respect it deserves. I mean, it probably is the OG slasher. Some people give that title to Halloween. Some people go earlier to Psycho. But Black Christmas is the first one that feels like to me like the prototype killer stalking a bunch of teenagers, a body count adding up throughout the movie. Psycho is kind of a different format, so I don't know if I call that a slasher per se. But this is actually a really, really good slasher. I'll be honest, if you watch them back to back, this is probably just as good as the original Halloween. Why is it not as popular? It's because there wasn't a big franchise that spawned off from this. They missed the boat on not doing sequels. They'd established a really solid killer in Black Christmas, a killer that could keep going into sequels, but they never built a franchise around it. But if it had a franchise throughout the 80s, capitalizing off the 80s slashers hype, I feel like Black Christmas, the OG, would get a lot more respect, maybe the respect that it deserves. This was a day one purchase. I watch this every Christmas, actually, believe it or not. All right, moving on. We have the OG Alien in 4K. I had Nick Arcana watch this for the first time recently. He's not a big sci-fi fan, but I did tell him the first Alien movie, at least, is much more has much more horror elements. It's kind of like the first Terminator movie, where it has some horror things. Maybe people will never actually label this a true horror film, but I think the first one probably is a horror film, and it's amazing. A great setup. These days everything's CGI, green screen, but they built that damn ship in the first movie, so the practical effects look amazing here. That was a day one purchase. All right, this is one of the more underrated ones. Now, The Stepfather in 4K. I guess it's considered kind of a B horror movie, so with this kind of movie, you got to be really in the weeds as a horror fan to be like, oh wow, a $25 4K of Stepfather, I'm going to go ahead and buy that. But I have to say, I've always been a huge Stepfather fan. This is another one I felt like could have been a great franchise if you could have kept bringing Terry O'Quinn back. I even like the sequel, but then there's a part 3 and a remake that both go off the rails. But this first one, I can't stress enough. If you haven't seen it, find whatever copy you can. It doesn't have to be 4K, but find whatever copy you can of Stepfather. It's probably on Tubi. Watch it. You may fall in love with it the way I did and feel like you want to own a physical copy. Also, this one has solid special features. You get an interview with the main actors from this. You get a director's commentary. I mean, commentary tracks, man, I'll tell you what. If there's one big selling point for physical media beyond the upgrade in video and sound, it's the special features. And DVDs back in the day did a way better job at special features. I'm finding newer Blu-rays are becoming more scarce with the things that I used to love on DVDs in terms of deleted scenes, behind the scenes making ofs, but especially commentary tracks. Commentary tracks, when you have the director or the actor sitting down to watch a movie for a half an hour and giving commentary, that's when you really get some insights that you probably will never get anywhere else. The damn IMDb trivia page is not going to have all the nuances, the inside things from commentary tracks. So Stepfather, solid purchase. Like that a lot. Oh man, well, another classic here, Rosemary's Baby. Also a very good book. I read the book first, watched the movie. It is a fun sort of, you know what it is? It reminds me of, how A24 capitalizes on this idea of elevated horror, this old genre of, the Babadook, The Witch, Midsommar, that sort of genre where, there's a lot more going on. You're playing on the character's trauma, the horror's, the character's trauma, and everything's metaphysical, metaphorical, allegorical, whatever ickle you can add to it. Rosemary's Baby from, the late 1960s has a lot of that going on. This feels like elevated horror back in the 1960s. You have great performances, you have a great suspenseful build-up, and you have a sort of surprise twist ending that I would say beats the pants off of all of the M. Night Shyamalan twist endings I've ever seen. Great purchase with that one. All right, now we move to The Fog. The Fog is an underrated John Carpenter film that I think probably has gotten more due, more respect in recent years as more people have just stumbled upon watching it. It's like you're going through Carpenter's filmography or you're looking up Jamie Lee Curtis, you're like, wait a minute, after Halloween, they teamed up again in The Fog. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis has a very minor role in this movie. I wouldn't call her a main character by any stretch. But who else do you have? You have that 80s ladies man, Tom Atkins, in this movie. Tom Atkins, every damn 80s movie he's in, he is getting whatever girl he wants. What a damn ladies man they have Tom Atkins being in the 80s. This has a fantastic small town setting. You have great cinematography. The fog effects are cool. Maybe the ending's a little bit of a letdown. Maybe there could have been a higher body count, but The Fog is definitely a genuine Halloween-style classic, I would say. Okay, This one I also waited for a long time, The Hitcher. I had the original DVD of The Hitcher. I rented this for the first time back when I was a teenager. Had a great time with it. Always thought that the main villain, played by Rutger Hauer, is one of the most underrated horror villains in the genre. Movie never really gets its true respect, I think. Never gets talked about enough. But look at this awesome artwork, by the way. The cover of this is fantastic. But I think that in terms of road horror movies, in terms of mano a mano, guy versus the villain in a situation, he's not going to be able to escape without taking out the villain. The Hitcher stands amongst all the movies in that category, and this is a great watch. Again, if you watch it, you'll probably want to own it. And this is the 4K, which I waited a long time for. The picture was a big time upgrade from the DVD, I would say also. All right, let's move on here. Okay, this one may be the first regrettable purchase, Village of the Damned. Speaking of John Carpenter, me and Nick Arcana reviewed this movie maybe about a year ago. You know, it's one of those movies that has a lot of potential. The opening 20 minutes is very intriguing, sets up a very interesting story, but then the second half of the movie never really pays off the promise of the first half. We see that all the times. The original Jeepers Creepers had an amazing first half, didn't pay off in the second half, but this is a true victim of that. It's still solid. I'll be honest, when I bought it, at the time I bought it, it's because I knew we were about to review the movie for the channel, and I was like, all right, let me get it in 4K. It's John Carpenter. I remember liking it as a kid. But for $22, this is sort of going to go in the category of regrettable purchase. I would say that only buy this movie if you are a huge fan of it, which is probably makes up like, 7 people in Idaho, maybe, I don't know. But if you want to be a John Carpenter completionist and have all his movies, then it's worth it. But I probably would return this to Amazon if I hadn't watched it after past the point where I could return it. So enough is said about Village of the Damned. Moving on, we have, you can't go wrong with Candyman in 4K, 1993, Tony Todd, the awesome Chicago location. The first time Tony Todd comes on screen with that creepy, Helen, and when he's in the parking garage, my goodness, that scene gives me nightmares. Look, Candyman's probably one of the best horror films of the 90s, so it's 100% worth owning. The 4K really does bring out the sound, it brings out the picture. I would have loved to see this in theaters, actually, but you have tons of special features with this as well. I mean, look how many special features. This is all special features, so this was definitely a day one purchase. And as always, with many of these horror franchises, do not even think about buying the sequels. Maybe convince yourself with Candyman 2, but you stay away from Candyman 3, damn it. Don't be coming around saying, hey, man, Vic said buy Candyman. I bought all 3 of them. Nope, don't buy Candyman 3. Don't do that. All right, let's move on here. What do we have here? Oh, this is very interesting. We recently had a sequel to the OG. I know what you did last summer. Me and Nick Arcana saw the new one in theaters. We're going to have a deep dive of that coming out very soon. Now, this is going to blow your mind, but if I was trying to impress somebody with my 4K collection in terms of convince them this is the highest potential what 4K can offer, it's probably like 3 or 4 movies I would pick, and surprisingly, this movie looks freaking beautiful in 4K. Like, if you have a 4K TV, turn the lights off, turn on your sound bar or your subwoofer, your surround system. The sound, the picture of this movie is, for some reason, freaking amazing. It really brings out the colors of that small town. Ben Willis, I mean, he looks older, actually, in 4K than he does in 2K, but that's okay. He's old fisherman. He's supposed to look old, I guess. And I gotta say, even if you're only kind of mildly lukewarm on the movie, it's a great 4K, just showing off your presentation, convincing someone to buy 4K players, get the setup. It's a solid thing, and also has some pretty decent amount of special features, I would say, as well. But with all horror movies, of course, budget out, though. I mean, this is probably one that I got for like $17, and that's about right. Sometimes Blu-rays, especially 4K ones, will be going a little bit crazy with those $22, $25, $28 price tags, $40 price tags. I still can't get Demolition Man. That shit is like $50 on Amazon. Demolition Man. Look, I love the 3 seashells, but $50, I mean, come on. Somebody tell Amazon to put Demolition Man on sale. I'm a huge Stallone fan. I got all his movies on Blu-ray. Can't get Demolition Man in 4K because it's $50 freaking dollars. What kind of nonsense is that? All right, let's go. Oh, here we go. Now we're talking. Return of the Living Dead. You know, I interviewed Todd Matthews about a month ago. Oh, my favorite zombie film of all time. This thing looks amazing in 4K. This thing is packed with special features. This is a day one purchase. The cool thing too, it's 2 discs, but on the Blu-ray, the special features, it has a whole entire documentary, a good hour and a half documentary on the whole making Return of the Living Dead. So it looks good, sounds good. It really brings out the music. This movie has a great soundtrack, so the 4K brings out the music. So 100% recommend Return of the Living Dead. Okay, this is now going to be the second potentially regrettable purchase. The first one was Village of the Damned, which has its fans, and this movie has its fans too, but I'm talking about Children of the Corn. Never judge a book by its cover because of all my 4K Blu-rays. This might be the most beautiful damn cover art of any 4K movie that I have. I mean, that is beautiful, and I just wish the damn movie itself could live up to this cover. Look, similar reasoning. We were going to be marathoning the Children of the Corn movies. We were going to be reviewing the movie for the channel, so I went ahead and splurged and bought the 4K. It's kind of boring. It doesn't have much going for it. Part 2, Children of the Corn Part 2, low-rent sequel actually ended up being more fun than the OG. So, okay, what's the value of having this movie right now? Because I can't sell it. I'm not going to get any money for it. So what value does it have? It being on my Blu-ray shelf with this nice-looking cover. It's an amazing decoration set piece, so the value is just having it on the shelf, although it probably won't ever be opened unless Jigsaw kidnaps me, ties me up, the little bite comes out, and if I lose a challenge, I'm forced to watch all the Children of the Corn movies back to back in a row. All right, moving on now, something more modern, the 90s. Scream, the original in 4K. Wow. Great slasher movie. We already know that. This movie kickstarted the 90s slashers boom, saved the horror genre. In 4K, it looks fantastic. You have pretty good special features. You got a director's commentary by Wes Craven. For Wes Craven movies, I'd always listen to his commentary because he's a very intelligent person and he really gets into the weeds of what he was thinking with each scene. So definitely watch the commentary track. You know, I don't have the sequels on Blu-ray, which is interesting. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I guess I'm waiting to get them all in 4K now. And they don't have Scream 4 in 4K, which I think is one of the only sequels they don't have in 4K is Scream 4. So I'm waiting for that, then I'll get them all in 4K. But the OG, the best of the series, the original Scream, is definitely worth having for sure. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, well, you know, Cabin in the Woods is a fun parody satire of the horror genre. Takes all the tropes that we know and love, turns them up on their head, gives a super fun ending. And this movie is just like a very clever, fun horror movie. Well, maybe more comedy horror, I'd say. Looks really good in 4K. So this is one too that I got for about $10. So, you know, at that point, if I'm looking at Blu-rays and 4Ks, I'm always looking at first like what's under $10 that's on sale. And I found that in the $10 shelf, and that was just good stuff. All right. Jordan Peele's Get Out from 2015. Probably considered by many one of the best horror films of the last 15, 20 years. Has a great setup, great twist about halfway through, and then balls to the walls last 15, 20 minutes. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Also, this was under $10 on Amazon when I got it. So again, absolute no-brainer. Looks great in 4K. Get that movie for sure. All right. Oh, here we go. Now we're talking. Nick Arcana once gave the following movie 2 stars. I want you to find his mailing address and send him hate mail and tell him he has to revise his opinion on Tremors because Tremors is at least a 3.5 out of 4 stars. And look, I'm just going to show you how many damn special features this one has. Look at this. I mean, is this not a ridiculous amount of special features? I mean, you could buy the movie and get the value just out of the special features, but truly a stunning visual presentation here in Tremors 4K. If the town of perfect wasn't perfect before, it's perfect on this Blu-ray in 4K. So look, this is a yearly watch for me. This is one of my favorite movies to rewatch. So I've owned the DVD of this, then the Blu-ray, now the 4K. 35-year anniversary. This is the perfect year to rewatch Tremors. In terms of the sequels, I did like Part 2. I haven't watched the rest of them. I know that old Bert, you know, broke into the wrong damn rec room. I know that he becomes the main character for all the sequels, so I'm gonna give them a chance, give them an opportunity. But I don't know about buying the whole box set. I gotta see. Well, I gotta see if maybe I can find them all on Tubi. But Tremors, the original. You gotta buy that. Okay. Oh, yeah. One of the more underrated horror films from the 90s, I find, is actually The Faculty. So The Faculty is probably borderline horror. If you think about it, it's kind of taking off of the idea of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, with people being converted into aliens slowly. The aliens coming through a small town style instead of Independence Day blow up the White House style. But you have a really good young cast. You have Elijah Wood, Josh Hartnett, Jordana Brewster. Um, a lot of interesting cameos too by people who had previously worked with Robert Rodriguez, like John Stewart, Salma Hayek. So it's a very, very fun movie. Can't really expect a slasher here. Like I said, it's more sci-fi-ish, but it is a great movie to watch on a rainy day, and in 4K, it looks fantastic. I've noticed something about the late 90s movies looks amazing in 4K. Like this, and I know Daylight Summer, which this is like 98, that one's 97. They both are like top of the line 4K visuals, and I don't get the same effect from 80s movies or 2000s movies, but something about those late 90s movies, I don't know what it is. They just look crazy. Okay. Oh yeah. This is a day one purchase. The Lost Boys in 4K. I mean, listen, people are gonna have their favorite vampire movies. You know, some may say Fright Night, some may say From Dusk Till Dawn. Some would say Vampire in okay, nobody would say Vampire in Brooklyn, although I do think that movie's slightly underrated. But a lot of people have Lost Boys at the top of their list, and I can see why. It's a perfectly fun vampire film. You get everything you want up, everything you possibly want out of a vampire film, you get in Lost Boys. And man, 4K again, with the sound, if a movie has a great soundtrack and great sound, the movie a great score, it's usually brought out perfectly about the 4K. And this has some great, great, great music in it. Cry Little Sister, what a great song. Decent amount of special features, as you can see. And yeah, this is, Blu-ray, 4K, DVD. Make sure you have a copy of The Lost Boys. All right, let's see here. Moving on now, we got a regular old Blu-ray here of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the OG. Now, I do need to buy the 2003 version. That's coming out in 4K very soon, so I'll be getting the 4K of that. But, the OG, probably one of the most influential horror films of all time. Tobe Hooper directing. I'll be honest, I haven't watched it in a long time, so I'm kind of waiting for us to review it on the channel and then give it a rewatch, but I haven't watched in a while. Decent amount of special features, but this also has a 4K version, so I got the Blu-ray. I'll have to watch it first, figure out how much I like it before swinging for the 4K, but it's an all-time classic, no question about it. All right, speaking of trendsetters and influential movies, we have the first real found footage film, at least the first noteworthy one, is the Blair Witch Project, which Chris Rock made a hilarious joke back in 1999. He said the Blair Witch Project was made for $100,000. He said, you know what that means? He said, someone's walking around with $99,000 in their pocket. Where did all the money go? This movie looks like it was made for $100 and a toothpick, but it still holds up very well. You got actors in the woods who I've heard recently actually just now are starting to get paid for their work here, which I think is an amazing thing. They should have got it paid a long time ago with how much money this movie has generated. But you got actors in the woods who I guess aren't even given really a script. They're just told to really improvise their dialogue and just be natural, and the camera's following them. You have cameramen hiding all throughout the woods filming it, but giving the feel for the actors that they're actually not in a movie, that they're actually doing a real life investigation of this Blair Witch. And shit goes crazy. Now, this I'm waiting for a 4K copy. This is a Blu-ray copy, but this is one that I will probably splurge and upgrade to 4K, assuming it's not $50 like Demolition Man. I hope not. All right. Wow, okay. You could say borderline horror. The Dead Zone is in my horror collection. Christopher Walken, it's a great Stephen King novel. Brooke Adams, who shows up a lot in the horror movies that I enjoy from back in the day. Listen, it's a solid sort of sci-fi thriller, I would say. Christopher Walken is always excellent, and this one he's not actually hamming it up. He's really playing it straight, so there's no big Christopher Walken speeches. This is a very interesting movie, one that I saw on video back in the day, so I always wanted to have a physical copy, so not too much to say about that one. It's just a good Blu-ray to have. All right, we have the Saw movie collection. Now, the first Saw, I think, is one of the great classics of the horror genre, and I even like Saw 2 and Saw 3. I fall off at about Saw 4. I haven't seen Saw 4, Saw 5, Saw 6, Saw 7. I did see the new Saw movie that came out that was a prequel with Jigsaw, and I like that a lot. But this is like one of those things. Sometimes this is like $10 on Amazon. So this is one of those things that I got for very cheap on Amazon. Just couldn't resist. Figured one day I would binge watch all the movies. Still haven't done it. It's been about 3 years since I've had it. Still haven't sat down and watched all the Saw movies. Maybe never will. You assume eventually we'll have to review the movie. So, yeah, this is seven, I believe, seven Saw movies. Seven Saw movies. And again, on Amazon, it's usually very cheap to get that as one collection. Speaking of collections, well, listen, you should never take a leprechaun's gold, but you should buy his box set on Amazon. That's a terrible Warwick Davis leprechaun impression. I apologize. But listen, I've said many, many times before, you can have a lot of fun with the Leprechaun series. Turn your brain off. Turn on the only part of your brain that just can react to funny things. Don't take it serious. Get yourself some kind of cheese product, some kind of diet Sunkiss, I recommend. And enjoy the Leprechaun series. Even Part 4 in Space, which I put on my list as one of the most underrated horror sequels. But the first one, hilarious. The second one, probably the weak point of the series. Part 3, the best of the series. All right, look, wait till next St. Patrick's Day, all right? At least give it a chance on St. Patrick's Day. I mean, that's the time to actually throw in your Leprechaun movies and watch them. But you will have fun with Leprechaun series. Don't take it seriously. They're solid. Okay, now moving on, of course. Any solid horror collection is going to have Chucky in it. Why? Because, look, Chucky is one of the kings of horror, so you have to have him in your collection. This is a collection of all the 7 Chucky movies. Listen, you know the series inside out. I mean, you got Part 1, classic. Part 2, one of the best horror sequels of all time. Part 3, underrated. Part 4, Bride of Chucky, amazing. Seed of Chucky, I've come to like more in the last couple years. Curse of Chucky, solid, straightforward horror film. Cult of Chucky goes completely off the damn rails, and I'm not a fan of that one, but this is one of those you gotta have as a horror fan. Usually relatively inexpensive on Amazon. Now, the individual movies have started to come out in 4K, so you can get the original Child's Play in 4K, Child's Play 2 in 4K, Child's Play 3 in 4K. I believe Bride of Chucky's on 4K as well. So if you're going down the 4K route, you may, go ahead and get the individual ones, but if you want all in one and just a cool looking Chucky box set to sit on the shelf, I mean, this just looks like a fun thing, then that might be the way to go. All right, then we also have the Wishmaster Collection. The original Wishmaster is a very fun horror film, kind of like The Stepfather, where you had potential here for a big, long-running franchise because you have a very charismatic villain, Andrew Divoff in this case, who really establishes the Wishmaster in the first 2 movies as he's not in the top tier like Freddy or Candyman or Jason, nothing like that, but I mean, I don't know. I would say that I'm a huge Wishmaster fan for the first 2 movies, but man, this collection unfortunately has both Wishmaster 3 and Wishmaster 4. If you want to throw those in a damn fire, I understand, because Part 3 and 4, for all intents and purposes, you wish they were never made, okay? So, but as is, this is usually pretty expensive on Amazon. I think I got this for about $15. So it's worth it for $15 to get the first and second movie. Again, probably just never watch the third and fourth movies if you can. All right, here we go. Now we're talking. Scary Movies 1, 2, and 3. And the only scary movies in the Scary Movies franchise that are worth watching, in my opinion. Once you get to Part 4, and I know there's a Part 5, but I don't remember watching Part 5. That's how bad it was, I think. But the first 2, you have the Wayans brothers. The third one, you have the kind of the crew that made all the classic parody stuff like Naked Gun, I believe. Look, these are just hilarious movies. The best thing you could do is watch Scream, then I Know You Did Last Summer, and then pop in the first Scary Movie, and you're good to go. You're going to have a great trilogy. Scary Movie is a great way to top off Scream, and I Know You Did Last Summer as a trilogy. All right, this one's controversial. It follows a horror movie, one of the first recent elevated horror films, and Nick Arcana does not like this movie. In fact, he hates this movie, and I have other friends who don't like this movie either. It's so interesting. The people I know in real life do not like It Follows. If you go online, on Reddit, on Facebook, horror communities, everyone loves It Follows, but the people I know, unfortunately, are not big fans. So maybe it's a bit of an esoteric movie. It does have a very specific storyline that may not do it for everybody, but I'm a fan of It Follows. I saw it in theaters back in 2015. I'm anxiously awaiting the sequel, and it is a solid movie to have on Blu-ray. I don't think it's on 4K yet. But visually, there's some cool visuals. A lot of, I felt like to me, it was like there's a lot of homage to Carpenter and It Follows. So, yep. All right. And now we have the first four Final Destination movies. Now, with what's happened since I bought this, might have been premature. Maybe should have waited for a future box set that includes five. And at the time, I didn't know there was a six. So maybe I could have waited on that. But okay, either way, that's fine. I would still say having these first four movies, well, having these first three movies is a privilege. The fourth Final Destination can get the hell out of my collection, all right? You punk ass, terrible 3D movie, wasted $12 on a movie theater ticket to see Final Destination 3D, and have never forgiven myself since. I don't even think the popcorn tasted good that day. I think the movie's so bad it influenced the popcorn to taste like shit. But the first three movies are fantastic. All right, let's go to my Buffy the Vampire Slayer Blu-ray, signed by Christy Swanson at a convention. She was very nice. Okay, listen, everybody loves a TV show. Everybody shits on the movie. I like the TV show. I've been rewatching the TV show with Nick Arcana and his wife. But for pure laughs, for pure fun, for pure Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens madness, Ruger Hauer, going from scary villain Hitcher to just hamming it up villain hair, this is a solid, solid film. I'm a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan in terms of the movie. I'll watch it once every couple years. And I don't know, maybe my sense of humor is terrible, but I laugh my ass off. All right. American Werewolf in London. We reviewed this movie. It's on the channel a couple years back. Bought the Blu-ray. This is one I just don't get. I mean, I understand. I had a good time watching it, but in horror circles, it's considered one of the better horror films of the 80s, and I just never got on board with that. This is not a regrettable purchase because I think there's a huge value in watching it at least once. But I mean, if this came out now and, the price tag was anything above $8, I probably wouldn't buy it because I was not the biggest fan in the world. So I haven't rewatched this movie except the one time we reviewed it. I don't know if there's ever a scenario where I'll pop in American Werewolf in London. But some people love it, so to each their own. Moving on. Oh, Christmas time's coming up. You can't go wrong with Silent Night, Deadly Night. Now listen, okay, I know it's cheesy, but you do have a great song in there. Something about the other side of the door. I don't know, it's on YouTube. It plays this whole montage where he's trying to adjust to regular life, but then eventually, of course, goes crazy and starts killing people. Look, this movie was banned and petitioned against and picketed against back in the 80s for, things that it was showing. And I sort of understand that, but I like Silent Night, Deadly Night. No, the end does not give a good payoff. There's a remake coming out that's probably going to be terrible. It's a fun Christmas horror film to watch during that time period. Let's move on to It. This is the newer It. And, this is 4K. And I will say that I need to buy the miniseries back from 1990 with Tim Curry. I prefer Tim Curry's clown over the clown hair. Because as my friend explained to me, one is like creepy scary and one is scary scary. And creepy scary is like creepy old man with a white van scary that Tim Curry's doing with that voice. That it's gonna be popcorn, ooh, just creeps me out. And then you have the clown hair who's like just trying to be scary, and it feels more like a performance where I kind of buy that the It Clown 1990 is just like a creepy old clown. So, but I do like the first one. The story with It movies is always the same. As a kid, the kid part of it is always fantastic. The adult part of the movies never seem to get it right. Okay, 90s horror back. We got The Craft. Excellent, excellent. Pre-Nev Campbell, pre-Scream. Fairuza Balk playing an amazing villain here. And listen, just a fun movie about witchcraft. There's not much to it. I don't think this one really needs to be in 4K. If you already have the DVD, maybe just stick with that as well. Not a tremendous amount of rewatchability. We'll probably review it on the channel sometime in the future, so I'll have to watch it again. But it's a solid teen horror film, pre-Scream. Okay, well, The Fly. Nick Arcana did not like this one either. I like it a lot. I think it's good body horror. I think that you do get an emotional investment in Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum. I haven't seen much of Cronenberg stuff, but his visual effects to me are impressive here. So I'm on board with The Fly. I've been told that The Fly 2 is terrible and The Fly 3 just shouldn't exist. So I may not watch the sequels. But yeah, this is one of the classics in the horror genre, so you definitely want to have that. All right. Well, we have the Psycho 4 movie collection. The original Psycho, of course, all-time classic. Janet Leigh. You really can't add anything to that. It's Hitchcock, at his most Hitchcockian, which might be not a word, but probably should be a word. I'll say this about the box set. Psycho 2 is actually really good, and Psycho 3 is pretty solid as well. I actually haven't watched Psycho 4, so maybe I need to sit down and watch Psycho 4, but get this really for Psycho, Psycho 2, and give Psycho 3 a chance. Solid. Oh, man. Night of the Living Dead, the Tony Todd version from 1990. Controversial, but I like this more than the OG from the 60s. Why? Because I think that what they do with the character of Barbara is a lot more fun and interesting. Her becoming a complete badass in this movie. Now, this one is coming out in 4K at the end of September, and it's an uncut version, which Tom Savini says is his OG vision for the movie. I think it's gonna have some black and white, maybe a few uncut deaths. I'm looking forward to upgrading this to 4K. This is probably my third favorite zombie film after Return of the Living Dead and after Dawn of the Dead in 1978. So I do love this movie a lot. 35-year anniversary, so if you haven't watched this, again, this is the year to watch that. All right, well, In the Mouth of Madness. Now, this is another one. It's Blu-ray, which I just got last year, and come to find out this October, the 4K is coming out. So this will be an upgrade to 4K. I'm a huge Mouth of Madness, Lovecraftian horror type of fan, I guess, because this movie just creeps the hell out of me. That scene with, the person on the bike driving by the car, and then it comes back in as the old lady. I just love that. I don't know why. And I'm a huge Carpenter fan. This is in my top 5 Carpenter films, In the Mouth of Madness. And yes, of course, I do read Sutter Kane, and you should read Sutter Kane as well. All right, well, we're getting down now to the nitty gritty. Damn, how many Blu-rays do I have? I'm surprised myself. Okay. Well, all right, we'll just go through this very quickly. The Halloween movies all mostly came out in 4K. They do have very cool covers, a lot of special features. Yes, the H2O mask still looks bad in 4K. It's not going to make the mask look any better. But you got to have H2O in 4K. Halloween 2018 in 4K. Well, listen, I mean, maybe a slightly overrated film, but for collection purposes, everything with the Halloween franchise for me is more being a completionist. I want to have everything at least on Blu-ray. So this ad, again, the time I was buying it, they had 4K and Blu-ray, so I was like, let me get the 4K. Solid special features. Yeah, had to have that. Oh man, this is my favorite cover art for the Halloween franchise, is the Halloween 3 cover. Look how cool that is. Halloween 3, one of the better sequels in the franchise. Of course, no Michael Myers. Once you get past that, you have a solid Halloween film that you can watch pretty much every Halloween. Oh yeah, here we go. Curse of Michael Myers. This bad boy has, I believe, this has the producer's cut. Oh no, this is just the theatrical. Yeah, damn it, man. Okay. Okay, well, it's kind of lame that this one doesn't actually have the producer's cut on it. It should actually be included in here, but they actually sold the producer's cut separately, I believe. But Curse of Michael Myers, I mean, listen, you can watch my video on that, but visually, the autumn feel, the cinematography, you want to have this in 4K. It looks a lot better in 4K. All right, we also have, regrettably so, Halloween Resurrection. Busta Rhymes kicking Michael's ass in 4K, just making it all clear how embarrassing it was for Michael Myers. But look, I'm not mad at this. This is actually a 2-disc collection with the Blu-ray and the 4K. You have a decent amount of special features with this one. And look, it's not going to improve the movie or make the movie better, but for completionist purposes, you have to have it. Halloween 2, which, okay, I'll be honest. I actually love the cover art for all these Halloween movies with the latest 4K movies they came out with. This you have a lot of special features. This is Dolby Atmos, so you got the highest quality sound possible. I mean, it's Halloween 2, so if you're going to have the Halloween franchise, after you watch original Halloween, you almost always want to pop in Halloween 2 to watch as a double feature. Okay, Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K. Now, as many may know, the entire franchise coming out in 4K at the end of September. I've already pre-ordered on Amazon. 100 smackers, but it's going to be damn worth it to see Freddy kicking ass in 4K, even in Freddy's Dead. Him playing with the power glove and nice hearing from your Carlos. It's going to sound great coming out in Dolby Atmos on the soundbar. Regrettably, I got the 4K for the original, and now that's going to be in the box set that I'm buying. So you always say duplicate purchases where you have the original and then you get the box set, but maybe I'll just pass this one along to Nick Arcana. The special features for the Nightmare series, they're there, but the truth is, the only thing you need as a special feature is you gotta buy the separate Never Sleep Again documentary. It's like 6-7 hours, goes into more depth on every movie than you'll ever get with any special features on the individual Blu-rays. All right, Carpenter's The Thing in 4K. This movie is visually stunning, and in 4K, you still have the same damn questions at the end about who was a thing, Childs, or it doesn't make any more sense. It's not easier to figure out in 4K, but it looks beautiful, and the sound quality, the score there is fantastic. So The Thing is one you gotta have. More Halloween movies. There we go. My absolute favorite Halloween sequel, Halloween 4. In 4K, that opening 2 minutes where it's just showing like the corn, not the cornfield, but the farmland and the autumn setting. Amazing. And then, of course, the OG Halloween. Probably this is the movie that I've owned the most on physical media. I had the DVD, a Blu-ray, and then a different Blu-ray, and then the 4K. They came out with so many damn versions of the original Halloween, each one with a new promise, like, oh, we got the tint right here, or, oh, we got a new commentary track with Jamie Lee Curtis. This franchise has gotten so much damn money out of me, and I'm such a sucker that even with this 4K, if some new version came out, a new supervised, 4K scan supervised by John Carpenter and Dean Conley, I'd probably give them more money. But I can't regret that. Okay. Slumber Party Massacre and Slumber Party Massacre 2, both in 4K. And this is just a great thing to have because, surprisingly, the first Slumber Party Massacre is a solid 80s slasher, and the sequel is batshit crazy, but it's more than worth watching. And in 4K, this is some fun shit. So I would say have a double feature with that, both movies. Although, okay, I'll be honest. These two, you don't need this in 4K. You could probably just get the Blu-ray on this. All right, here we go. Well, Evil Dead 2 in 4K, it's a no-brainer. Now, oddly enough, this is going to piss some people off, but I don't have the original Evil Dead on 4K or Blu-ray. For some reason, that slipped my mind. I guess I was a much bigger fan of Part 2 and Army of Darkness, and I also don't have Evil Dead 2013. That one I have to get along with the new one, Evil Dead Rising. This, I would say, looks great in 4K, but the jewel of this one is the commentary track. Some of the best commentary tracks are always when Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi get together because they're just clowning each other for an hour and a half. This one has a really fun commentary track. You're going to feel like you're watching the movie with friends. So I would definitely recommend that. We have the 45-year anniversary of The Shining. So, this is the year to watch Jack Nicholson go batshit crazy through the hotel. And look, along with some of the ones I've mentioned, in terms of like pure 4K presentation, this is in my top 10 because this movie looks like, I don't know if it's like just Stanley Kubrick was so ahead of his time, but this movie looks like it was shot yesterday. If you watch the opening shots, you're like, you couldn't guess how old this movie is. You would never think 1980. Of course, the movie itself is fantastic, but I would say this one specifically was a very worthwhile 4K purchase. All right, here we go. Oh, Brewster, you're so cool. Fright Night. Now, let me just say that this guy was amazing when I met him at a convention. Super cool dude, Chris Sarandon, also known from Child's Play. Look, Fright Night is in my top 3 vampire films. I cannot get enough of the original. Jerry Dandridge, one of the coolest vampires ever to grace the film screen. So this one was a day one purchase. And also, I have to mention with this one, if you can, find Fright Night 2 on Blu-ray as well, because Fright Night 2 is a very underrated sequel, I would say. Very underrated. Okay. The Exorcist. Well, again, sacrilegious, but I haven't really watched this recently in a long time, so I can't say much about the movie. I know it's a classic, and I know that it's spawned 75 different movies that have the title Exorcist in the title, and that's worth something, but for just horror completionist historical purposes, you have to have Exorcist in your collection. I will say, I've heard a lot about Exorcist 3, so I need to sit down and watch Exorcist 3, maybe add that to the collection as well. But yeah. Oh yeah, this one I haven't watched yet, but The Ring in 4K, I cannot wait to see her come out of the TV in 4K. This movie, when I was in high school when this came out, this movie freaked the hell out of me. I was just like, oh my goodness, what the hell is this? This was like a big change from slashers to go to the new genre, with this and The Grudge and like ghostly little kid looking like ghosts like in horror films. I wish I saw this in theaters, but the closest thing to see this in theaters is watching it in 4K. So, well, is that pretty much everything? Oh, well, we got actually, we got one or two more. All right, well, we have the entire Conjuring. Well, it's not the entire Conjuring. This is 7 Conjuring films, but Nick Arcana tells me there's even more that's not in this collection. This I just got last week, and it was actually only $20 on Amazon. Anytime you get 7 movies for $20, even if like 3 of them are complete shit, you're still getting a good deal. So this is a great purchase. I haven't watched all the Conjuring films, though, so I gotta sit down and watch them. Maybe one day. I don't know. We'll see. All right, this one is, man. Oh, I got to get my weightlifting session in today, so I'm going to pick up the Friday 13th box set, which has all the Friday 13th films, including Freddy vs. Jason, which it doesn't have to have Freddy vs. Jason, so big props on that. None of these are 4K. They're Blu-rays, but the first 4 movies have 4K scans. They look amazing. Cover art-wise, I mean, you can't go wrong with this. Look, they even got Sackhead Jason on the side. Look how cool or uncool Sackhead Jason looks. For you reboot fans, you got 2009 Jason here, and then yeah, I mean, just good shit. I mean, you gotta have the Friday 13th franchise in your box set collection. So, man, I'll tell you what, we went through all my damn horror Blu-rays. So that's pretty much it. There'll be some new additions soon with the Nightmare box set, the new Night of the Living Dead 4K, and the Mouth of Madness 4K. But that's pretty much it. In my collection, only a few that I would consider to be regrettable. Most of them I like a lot. And listen, the main thing I would say with Blu-rays and 4Ks is that really think about there's two aspects. There's, do you want to have physical media? Because look, they take up shelves. They take up space in your room. I mean, I have to think about buying how many I'm going to buy because I would need another shelf now. My shelf is getting full, so I would need even that much more space, in the house to actually fit all the damn Blu-rays that I probably want to have. So think about it from a physical media standpoint in terms of, do you have space in your space to fit them? And then beyond that, then it's just in terms of the quality. Do you want to do DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks? Because apparently DVDs are still the biggest selling physical media, which shocks me, DVDs, because there really is a huge quality upgrade from DVD to Blu-ray, probably even more so than the upgrade from Blu-ray to 4K. I'm not an expert on the topic, but yeah, DVDs look pretty bad for the most part. Cool special features menus, though, always. So yeah, make that decision based on that. And then if you're going to go down the journey of physical media, the smartest strategy, which I always establish but never follow, is the idea of just the elite movies on Blu-ray 4K, the ones that you really see yourself rewatching. Don't buy a movie that you're never going to rewatch. I've done that a couple times, and it's collecting dust. It was a waste of money. I should just throw it out the window. Start out with an elite collection, and then from there, if you want to branch out and get silly stuff like Repo the Genetic Opera or Troll 2, add that to your collection. But be very mindful and intentional about those first Blu-rays or 4Ks that you get. I would say for me, the upgrade to 4K has been worth it. I have a 4K TV. You have to get a 4K Blu-ray player. So there's definitely an initial financial investment there. But once you're all set up, you will never regret watching movies in 4K. You'll feel like, damn, this is the closest thing I've gotten to seeing the movie in theaters, which for a lot of these movies are 80s, 90s, 2000s. There just wasn't an opportunity for us to see in theaters. Anyways, hopefully this video was chill, helpful. If not, then I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm just reorganizing the collection. Figured I'd just go over everything with you guys. I'm about to put them in alphabetical order. And if you like this video, hit the likes button. Well, see, I can't even pronunciate now because the sun kiss is melting my pronunciation. But hit the like button and subscribe if you like the video. Hit the thumbs up, and in the comments, let me know what your relationship is with physical media. Do you want to have physical media? Do you think it's the way to go? Are you a streaming person? Let me know your thoughts on the physical media craze. And until next time, you guys take care.